Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Buenos días, caballero. ¿Me puede dar su nombre, por favor?
Ender Galvis.
Ender Galvis.
2020 MM70388AO. Is Andriana here? Andrina? No response. Corrections, can you help me out and pass, my paperwork's out of order right now. Can you pass me his face sheet? Sir, do you want a public defender? That's a lawyer to help you with your case?
Señor, ¿usted quiere un defensor público, un abogado de oficio que le ayude con su caso?
Yo llené un documento.
Señor, alce la voz, por favor.
Yo llené un documento.
I filled out paperwork.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to help you with your case.
Le voy a asignar a un abogado defensor para que le ayude con su caso.
Ma'am, tell me your name, please.
Señora, por favor, dígame su nombre.
Andreina Chenique.
Señora, acérquese y
Andreina
quítese la
Chenique.
mascarilla. You need the interpreter, ma'am? ¿Necesita el intérprete?
Sí.
Ok, acérquese al micrófono. Diga su nombre.
Andreina Chenique.
Andreina Chenique.
How do you know Mr. Galvez Carreno?
¿Cómo es que usted conoce al señor Galvis Carreno?
Es mi esposo.
He's my husband.
Do you want him to return to the home?
¿Usted quiere que él regrese al hogar?
No.
No.
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted lo teme?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Galvez Carreno, where would you live if you weren't to go to your family home?
Señor Galvis Carreno, ¿dónde fuera a vivir usted si no vive en su domicilio?
No tengo dónde ir porque estamos los dos y no tengo familia aquí.
I have nowhere to go. It's just the two of us. I don't have any family here.
Mr. Galvez Carreno, I'm going to put you on pretrial release.
Señor Galvis Carreno, lo voy a colocar a usted en el programa de libertad provisional.
Miss Adriana, how long have you and your family lived in Orlando?
Señorita Adriana, ¿cuánto tiempo ha vivido usted y su familia aquí en Orlando?
Tenemos como año y medio.
About a year and a half.
And where did you live before that?
Y antes de eso, ¿dónde vivían?
En Venezuela, yo estaba en México.
In Venezuela, and I was in Mexico.
All right, based on the facts, I'm going to set your bond at $100 plus pretrial release.
Basado en los hechos, voy a programar su fianza en $100 más el programa de libertad provisional.
Mr. Galvez Carreno, you're not to return home.
Señor Galvis Carreno, no se le permite regresar a su casa,
You're not to have any weapons.
no se le permite portar armas
And you're not to contact your wife even for purposes of the children.
y no se le permite contactar a su esposa aún referente a asuntos de los niños.
I'll allow a one-time return as long as you have a police officer accompanying you.
Le voy a permitir que regrese una sola vez para recopilar sus pertenencias siempre y cuando sea acompañado por un oficial del orden público.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. And Your Honor, I'm sorry, may I have a confirmation of the defendant's case number?
Sure, it is 20 MM70388. Thank you, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
Señora, ¿tiene alguna pregunta?
What's your question?
¿Cuál es su pregunta?
En caso de que por lo menos yo no estoy trabajando ahorita, ¿no? Porque yo me puedo ir de la casa porque yo no tengo cómo pagar el arriendo, no sé. Y que en caso de, por lo menos yo no quiero volver a estar con él, ¿cómo puedo empezar la demanda de divorcio y la patria potestad de mis niños?
I'm not working now, so I don't know that I'll be able to stay where I'm living right now because I can't pay the rent. And I don't want to stay with him. What would I do as far as filing for divorce and also for custody of the children?
Ma'am, maybe you can reach out to Legal Aid Society in Orlando. I can't give you any legal advice.
Señora, lo siento, yo no le puedo dar ningún consejo legal, pero posiblemente puede recibir consejo legal de la Sociedad de Ayuda Legal en inglés, Legal Aid Society.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Thank you for that case number, Your Honor.
Next case number is 2020 MO979AO. What is your name, sir?
¿Cuál es su nombre, caballero?
Roberto Soto Rosa.
Roberto Soto Rosa.
Sir, if you would like to resolve your case today and say guilty or no contest, I will adjudicate you, release you today, and you have to pay court costs by June of next year.
Señor, si usted quiere resolver su caso en el día de hoy, al declararse culpable o no me opongo, le impongo una sentencia de adjudicación de culpa, lo suelto en el día de hoy y simplemente tiene obligaciones de pagar los costos procesales antes de una fecha de vencimiento de junio del año 21.
Do you want a lawyer to help you with your open container of alcohol charge?
¿Usted quiere un abogado que le ayude con su cargo de portar un envase abierto de bebida alcohólica?
Yo no tenía un contén,
I didn't have a container.
yo tenía un cup de Pepsi Cola.
I had a cup of Pepsi Cola.
El oficial dice que eso era cerveza.
And the officer accused me of having
I
beer.
said no contacts.
Clarification. ¿Qué dijo usted, señor, en español, por favor?
No contacto, no contacts.
I'm sorry,
no
Your Honor,
soy
he's not being very
culpable
clear
o no
as to what he's saying. Let me
culpable.
try it again. ¿Qué usted está diciendo, señor? No se le entiende. Habla en español, por favor.
Pues culpable.
Okay, I'll plead guilty.
Do you speak and understand the Spanish language?
Señor, ¿usted habla y entiende el idioma español?
¿En español? Sí.
Well, yes.
And do you need a lawyer to help you with your case?
¿Usted necesita un abogado para que le ayude con su caso?
No.
No.
How do you plead to the charge of open container of alcohol? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
¿Cómo se declara usted al cargo de portar un envase abierto de alcohol? ¿Se declara culpable?
Ok,
no me
culpable.
opongo, señor.
Culpable.
¿Se declara culpable, no me opongo o no culpable?
No me opongo.
No contest.
Did anybody force you to say no contest?
¿Alguien lo ha obligado a usted a decir no me opongo?
No.
No.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medicine? Or do you have any health problems that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on in court right now?
Señor, ¿usted ha ingerido alguna droga, alcohol o medicamento? ¿O usted padece algún trastorno mental que le interfiere con saber lo que está sucediendo en la sala en el día de hoy?
No.
No.
And do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you would be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
Y usted entiende que al declararse en este caso, si usted no fuese ciudadano norteamericano, podría ser deportado.
Yo soy puertorriqueño.
I'm Puerto Rican.
And do you understand that if you were on probation when you committed this offense yesterday, your terms of probation would be violated?
Y usted entiende que si usted estuviera en libertad vigilada o probatoria, sus condiciones de esa libertad vigilada podrían ser incumplidas debido al cargo que usted cometió ayer.
Yes or no?
¿Sí o no?
Yo no tengo ningún otro cargo.
I don't have any other charges.
All right, thank you, Mr. Santa Rosa.
Muchas gracias, señor Soto Rosa.
Your case is over. You're adjudicated. I'm sentencing you time served. You should be released today. And you owe court costs due by June 1st of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal.
Tiene 30 días para apelar, ya termino con su caso, lo adjudico usted culpable, sentencia de tiempo cumplido, usted le darán su libertad hoy y tiene hasta el 1 de junio del año 21 para pagar los costos procesales.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next case are my move-ups.
Your Honor, are there any further cases for the interpreter this morning?
I think that's everything.
May I be excused?
Yes, nice to see you, and sorry for the wait, sir.
No worries, Your Honor. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Have a good day.
Your Honor, Mr. Wilson is refused. Joe Wilson.
All right, in Mr. Wilson's case, 2020 CF 11680AO, for the record, he has refused. I'll appoint a public defender. I find probable cause, and I'll go ahead and stay the bonds. His total bond is $1,600, no return to 7-Eleven. The next person is James Stone.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, are you Mr. Stone?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Stone, you were arrested for a charge of trespass. I do find probable cause for this offense that occurred at Amtrak. If you would like to resolve your case today, the offer is an adjudication, time served, you'd be released today, and you'd owe court costs of about $300 due in June of next year. The offer is the same whether you have a public defender or not. Do you need a lawyer to help you with your case?
No, ma'am, I accept.
Okay, if you change your mind during our conversation and you want a lawyer, let me know. How do you plead to the charge of trespass in a structure or conveyance? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty?
And guilty means that you did it. Did anybody force you to say guilty?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Stone, have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on right now?
No, ma'am.
Any problems understanding the English language?
No.
Mr. Stone, do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation by pleading to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you were on probation when you committed this offense yesterday, by entering a plea today, your terms of probation would be violated. Do you understand that too?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll accept your plea of guilty, find that you waived your right to an attorney. You cannot go back to Amtrak. You're being convicted. You're being released today with a time-served sentence. Pay your costs by June 1st of 2021. Sir, do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, you have 30 days to appeal. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next person is Stephen Haddon. State or Public Defender's Office, this is Mr. Haddon in case 2020 MM 7011. Does anybody know if he has any competency issues pending? Mr. Haddon, have you ever been found incompetent, if you know, by a court?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any competency cases pending?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to make an offer to resolve your case.
Your Honor, I apologize. I was able to find, he has 3 mental health hearings that are open.
Okay, mental health, under MH or competency? They're different.
It just says mental health hearings, parentheses, Baker Act.
Okay, that's different. Defense, have you ever been appointed to represent Mr. Haddon, and do you know?
I'm checking right now, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll do the same from my end. Okay, he took a plea in 18 with the PD. Okay, he's taken pleas relatively recently. Give me a moment. Denise, what's his time served?
On the Alan Bond case,
Yes, ma'am.
he has 2 days.
And what about the new case?
I have to see the affidavit if you want me to.
Oh, duh, I could have figured that out. Sorry. 25th, so he has 3 days in. Okay. Sir, if at any point you don't understand what I'm talking about, politely interrupt me, and I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender to help you.
I cover you.
Back on the 21st, you were arrested for urinating in public, trespass from a 7-Eleven, and a county ordinance violation, and probable cause has been found, and you were released on that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, yes, on the 25th, you were arrested for trespass, and that occurred at 1 North Roslyn. Sir, if you would like to resolve both of these cases today, I would do an adjudication, 5-day jail sentence concurrent, and you would be released. You would be released in 2 days.
Sounds good.
Do you need to talk to a lawyer about your cases?
I'm okay.
All right. If you change your mind again, let me know.
So 2 more days?
About 2 more days. Yes, 2 more days. Sir, do
Counting
you-
today?
What?
Counting today.
What?
2 more days counting today?
No, today plus 2 more days. So you'd be
Okay.
released on Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, sir, how do you plead to the trespass from September of 21st?
No contest?
How do you plead to the urinating in public?
No contest?
And how do you plead to indecent conduct for exposing your genital area on the 21st? Guilty?
No contest.
All right, and then you have a trespass charge. How do you plead to that?
No contest?
Did anybody force you to say no contest?
No, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, medicine, or do you have any health conditions that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on?
No, Judge.
Do you have any problems understanding the English language?
No, Judge.
And do you also understand that if you're not a United States citizen, you'll be subject to deportation by pleading to this charge?
I comprehend that.
And do you also understand that if you were on probation, probation when you committed these offenses, by pleading today, your terms of probation would be violated?
Yes.
All right. At this time, I'll go ahead and adjudicate you guilty of all of these offenses, sentence you to time served. 5 days with credit for time served. You owe court costs that are due on December 31st of 2021. That's over a year. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
And for the record, he waived counsel. Thank you, Mr. Haddon.
Thank you.
The next person is Roderick Lamont Watts. Mr. Watts, give me just a moment. Where's glasses? All right, in case number 2020 CF 1677AO, are you Mr. Watts?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to, I appointed a public defender to help you yesterday. I still have nothing to establish probable cause on counts 1 and 2. So I will go ahead and find no probable cause. And based on that, but the state has also filed a motion for pretrial detention. State, do you want me to rely on the face of the motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to add?
No, Your Honor.
Defense counsel.
Your Honor, we'd still ask for a monetary release.
All right, based on the facts, based on the face of the pretrial motion, I'm going to overrule state defense's objection, grant it to be set in front of Judge Roach. And I'll sign off on this. Thank you. Yes, everything else is stayed with the previous conditions.
Okay, are you RRing them on count 1 and 2? Or?
ROR 1-2, but I granted the motion for pretrial detention.
Yeah.
Sir, what's your name?
Jason Bradbury.
Mr. Bradbury, you were arrested for a crime of battery domestic violence. I'm not sure if you qualify for a public defender. I will give you a bond today. How much do you earn per week?
They put $1,800, but it was bi-weekly.
Oh, it's bi-weekly?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he qualify?
1,800 bi-weekly?
My
Yes.
girlfriend
No
not show up.
3 dependents.
Okay.
Doesn't qualify.
Doesn't-
Cutoff amount is $1,670.
Is that before taxes or after taxes?
After.
Is that a fluctuating income? Like, does it ever go to 1,600?
No, I have my own business, so I'd do the same work every week.
Okay, you make too much money to qualify for a public defender.
Okay.
So you'll need to hire your own attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you were arrested for a charge of battery by strangulation. It is domestic in nature. Corrections, any input from the victim, Lauren?
No, Your Honor. We made contact, and she stated that she planned to attend IAs.
She's not
But
here
she's not
now.
here.
Do you live together?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, I can't, since I'm not hearing from the victim, I'm going to give you a bond of $500 because of your failures to appear and place you on the pretrial release program. Sir, you're to have no contact with the victim of this case, not even for, you must not return to the property. You need to maintain a separate residence. I'll allow you to return one time as long as you have a police officer accompanying you, and you're not to possess any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours of your release from jail. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. The next person is Gus Fennell. Sir, tell me your name.
Gus Fennell.
Mr. Fennell, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yeah.
Sir, you were arrested for battery by strangulation, and I do find probable cause. Ma'am, are you Miss Gaskin?
Yes, good morning. I am her.
And Miss Gaskin, how do you know Mr. Fennell?
We were in a relationship.
Do you live together?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you afraid of him?
No, because he's in a safe location.
He's what?
No, he's in a safe location.
If he were released from jail, would you want to have contact with him?
You don't have to put an order out like that.
I'm not sure what you're... Are you afraid of... When he's released from jail, will you be in fear of him?
No, ma'am.
Do you want to have contact with him?
It's okay.
Is
It's
that a
okay.
yes or a no?
Yeah.
And you live together?
Yeah.
Do you want him to be able to return home?
He could visit. He could visit.
Where would you live if you didn't go back to where Miss Gaskin lives?
Hotel.
Okay. Ma'am, do you have any children together?
No.
Okay. Based on the testimony, Mr. Fennell, here's what I'm gonna do. I'll set your bond at $1,000. No in-person contact with Miss Gaskin. You're only allowed to text message her or call her. You need to maintain a separate residence. You cannot go back to where she lives. I'll allow a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer to get your belongings. You have to surrender any weapons because I'm ordering no weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 4 hours.
He don't have no clothes there. He don't have nothing there.
Okay, so you don't need to return then. All right. Strike the no return order. He cannot have, the only thing I'm going to allow him to do is text and telephone you. No in-person contact. Okay, ma'am?
That's fine.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fennell.
So strike the one-time return and.
Strike the one-time return.
Thank you.
Do you want to sign?
I'm going to have him sign it and I'll write on that paper. So again, you understand, it's only telephone and text. You're not to go see her. Is that a yes or a no? You understand that?
That's just circle 96, because that's the pretrial.
Thank you.
You finished with it, Your Honor?
What?
You finished with it?
Yes. I just wanted the paper. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Your Honor, the next person, Mr. Gonzalez, is mental health.
Give me just one moment to address that. Okay, Eddie Gonzalez. Is there a victim in Eddie Gonzalez?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to temporarily appoint a public defender on this case. I find probable cause for the charges of aggravated battery and resisting officer without violence, reset to within 24 hours of mental health clearance. The next person is Terence Miles. Or, I'm sorry, Mills. Are you Terence Mills?
Yes, ma'am.
You were arrested for false imprisonment and battery domestic violence. I'll appoint a public defender to help you with your case, Mr. Mills. Any contact with Megan Mills?
No contact, Your Honor.
All right, based on the facts of this case and your criminal history on false imprisonment, I'm setting your bond at $1,500. On count two, $100. Mr. Mills, you're to have no contact with Megan Mills. You must maintain a separate residence. You can't go back to where she lives or works. Do you have belongings there that you need to collect?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll allow a one-time return as long as you have a police officer accompanying you and you're not to possess any weapons. Weapons are to be surrendered to law enforcement within 4 hours of your release. Thank you.
Thank you.
Franklin Owen is next. Thanks. Good morning, sir. Tell me your name.
Owen Franklin.
Mr. Franklin, you were arrested for assault, dating violence. Sir, you earn $4,000 a month? I'm trying to see if you qualify for a public defender.
No, ma'am.
What's your take-home pay?
Yes, ma'am, I can pay the $4,000 bill.
No, that's not my question. I'm seeing if you qualify for a public defender. You filled out an affidavit. How much do you earn?
About $1,000 a month, ma'am.
$1,000 a month? Do you support anybody?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and find you qualify and appoint a public defender to help you with your case. Mr. Franklin, how long have you lived in Orlando?
About 4 months, ma'am.
Where did you live before that?
Waukegan, Illinois.
All right. Based on your lack of ties to the community, I'm going to do bond of $100 plus pretrial release. You'll get paperwork to explain what that means. You also have an attorney. Mr. Franklin, you're not to possess any weapons. If you do own any weapons, they need to be surrendered to the police department within 4 hours.
Okay.
You have no contact with Kirsten, and you're not to return to where she lives, works, or is known to frequent. Any questions, Mr. Franklin?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Vladimir Gomez. Thank you. Is this Lydia who's, okay, no, okay, Vladimir Gomez, come on up. How long have you lived in Florida?
All my life. Well, 31 years. I'm 33.
All right. Mr. Gomez, do you want a public defender to help you with your criminal case?
No, ma'am.
Sir, you were arrested for a charge of dating violence. I do find probable cause. I'm going to set your bond at $500 plus pretrial release. Pretrial release can also be, and I authorize call-in. You're to have no contact with the victim of this case, Lydia. You must maintain a separate residence. You can't go back to where she lives, and you cannot have any weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to the police department within 3 hours of your return to Miami, and they can be submitted to Miami's police department. Do you live with her?
No, ma'am.
All right. Again, no return to where she lives, works, or is known to frequent. No contact.
Okay, so can I ask a question? The bond is 500 or 5,000?
500 plus pretrial release.
Okay, I still don't get it. So 500 is what
You
I have to.
post a $500 bond, and then you're going to have monthly reporting.
Okay, that's fine. Here. So another question. Sorry, I kind of not understand. So I got to come back to court over here in Orlando, right?
You have to use the pretrial release program to call in, but yes, when your case is filed upon, you have to come back to court, and you have the option to consult with an attorney.
Okay.
If you so choose.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Michael, and that can be phone
Denise.
in. I'll take it.
Denise. It's gonna be bi-weekly.
Yeah, you put my order.
Denise, I'm going to need your help on this one.
Okay, no problem.
I checked it, but I think I could be wrong. Give me a moment. Are you Michael Logan?
Yes.
Mr. Logan, you were arrested for a charge of violation of a domestic injunction. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
No.
You plan to represent yourself?
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and find that he's waived his right to counsel. Ma'am, good morning. Are you Lisa Logan?
I am.
Please raise your right hand. I'll have you sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give today is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And, ma'am, how do you know Michael?
I'm his biological mother.
Are you in fear of him?
Couldn't hear you.
Are you in fear of him?
I couldn't hear you.
Are you afraid of him?
No, ma'am.
Do you want to have contact with him?
Yes.
Okay, you have an injunction in place, so he can't have contact You understand that?
I'm asking that to be vacated.
Okay, I can't dissolve that injunction. You have to go back to the court. I think you have a returnable hearing on October 1st. I can't be sure of that date, but that's what I looked up. Defense, any questions for me, ma'am?
No, I'm just, requesting that if you're going to issue an order, that it just be a non-hostile order, and that he be stipulated not to have alcohol. That's his only problem. And we just lost my husband due to COVID a couple weeks ago.
I'm sorry to hear about that, ma'am, but if I do that right now, there's going to be a conflict. So one is going to say, yes, you can have contact, and the other's no, and it's going to create a legal problem. So I'm going to deny that request at this time, but thank you for letting me know, and I'm sorry for your loss. Mr. Logan, I find no probable cause on your case. I have no indication state that the injunction was served. I'll give you 24 hours to go ahead and establish probable cause in this case. Sir, in the meantime, I'll stay the condition of no bond, and in the meantime, you're to have no contact with your mother. That includes telephone, texting, or third-party contact. We'll recall your case tomorrow, put down no PC, no proof, court checked the DR file, and no proof of service. All right, thank you, sir. We'll bring you back tomorrow. Thank you, ma'am, for your testimony.
Your Honor, I have a question. He's no bond. Why are you keeping him again? I'm not clear.
I found no probable cause, ma'am. It's a legal issue. I could have his attorney explain it to him, but he...
No, I went to law school. I'm just trying to understand if there's no probable cause, then why wouldn't the case be dismissed and he be released?
So I understand that you went to law school, but there is a direct rule on point where the state will have 24 hours to perfect it.
Okay, and then when he comes back tomorrow?
He comes back tomorrow. Are you sure you don't want a public defender?
Michael, yes. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. We'll see everybody back tomorrow on this, and make sure the paperwork says no proof of service.
Your Honor, do I need to be here tomorrow?
If you would like to be here tomorrow, yes.
Okay.
Put down victim appeared once DR orders quashed, court took no action. Your name, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? I'm sorry, what is it?
Liliane.
Your case number is 2020 MM 7034. Do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Sure. Do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
I don't know.
So you're Brazilian?
Yes.
Would you feel more comfortable using a Portuguese interpreter?
I think that I can understand if you speak slow.
Okay. I have a lawyer, an abogado. Do you want one?
A lawyer. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to appoint a public defender to help her with...
What makes difference in my case?
I can't tell you that, but because English is a second language, I'm going to appoint a public defender.
No, it's fine. I don't need to.
How long have you lived in Orlando?
4 years.
How many years?
4.
Okay. Do you live with Wedner?
Now we are not living together, but we still married.
Okay. So I'm going to say that I'm going to...
He's coming here to take me.
Ma'am, I'm going to say that you can have no contact with him. You need to live separately from him. And you cannot have any weapons. When you leave, you need to call the police department, and a police officer will communicate with you, meet with you, and you can pack a bag, take you back to the house to collect some belongings. But after that, you can't return.
We don't have things that belong him or me in his home. We have separate homes.
So you live separately?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll strike that. You just need to live separately from him, and you cannot have contact with him. That information is on the paperwork, and nonetheless, I'm going to appoint a public defender because there is case law. I can't remember the citation on English being a second language. All right, thank you, ma'am.
What's her bond, Your Honor?
I'm going to do $100 plus pretrial release.
Thank you.
The next person is Amanda Pettifer. Good morning, ma'am. Can you tell me your name?
Amanda Pettifer.
Do you want a lawyer to help you with your case?
I don't think I can afford one.
You do qualify for a public defender. That is a lawyer.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I'll appoint a public defender to help you with your case. Ms. Pettifer, you were arrested for battery, and I do find probable cause. Has there been contact with victim Bradley Gay?
None at
No
all.
contact, Your Honor.
Yeah,
No
I have.
contact? All right, do you live together?
For the most part, we have been living together, yeah.
Okay, so based on these facts, I'm gonna put you on pretrial release. You can leave jail without having to post any money, but you do have to follow the rules of pretrial release. And you're to have no contact with Bradley. You need to live separately. You cannot have any weapons. And you have to call the police department to arrange for a one-time return. An officer can accompany you. You collect your belongings. After that, you cannot have any more contact or any more return. Good luck to you, ma'am.
I don't know what pretrial diversion means, but.
The next person is John Williams. Are you John Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Williams, you were arrested for battery, domestic violence, as well as petty theft. I do find probable cause. You are entitled to bond. I'm going to decline on any efforts to put him on pretrial release based on his history. On count one, I'm going to set your bond at $500. Count two, I'll set your bond at $100. You're to have no contact with Crystal White, maintain a separate residence. I'll do a one-time return with police officer, and not to possess any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered in 4 hours. Mr. Williams, your attorney can assist you further. Good luck to you. The next person is Marquise Chisholm. Sir, what's your full name?
Marquise Dante Chisholm.
Sir, you're here in case number 2020 CF 7898. I'm going to appoint a public defender. You missed your court date for possession of controlled substance as well as possession of drug paraphernalia. Your bond was revoked. You're now at no bond status. Your public defender can assist you with that case.
Can I say something?
All of your statements are being recorded and
Yes,
can
sir.
be used against you.
Yes, ma'am.
Defense counsel, do you want to say anything to him? Because I can't, well, I could, but.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
The court paper that I received in the mail says that my court date was rescheduled for October the 9th. And when I was arrested, the arresting officer told me that the warrant was issued September the 11th. But when I talked to pretrial downstairs, they told me my court date was September the 15th.
Okay, give me a moment. Let me check that.
Yes, ma'am.
Corrections, can I see a face sheet for him? I want to see these, like, the second case that we used. What?
Excuse me, Your Honor, if I could add one other thing. On my original charge was a possession of controlled substance, and that's the only thing I bonded out on. But I'm showing here that I have a failure to appear for a controlled substance and a possession of a drug paraphernalia. And
The container or any device devices for the drug paraphernalia, for the controlled substance can be used. Again, you're walking on making it admissions. I have reviewed the court file. I did find that through your bondsman, you were properly noticed for September 15th, and that's the day you failed to appear. I'll deny your request. Thank you.
Through my
I'm
bondsman?
going to deny your request to modify. Thank you, Mr. Chisholm. Your bond is stated no bond, but I did appoint a PD. Elliot Davia?
Yes.
Mr. Davia, I have a couple of cases for you. I'm sorry, no, I just have, yeah, I do have. I'm going to appoint a public defender to help you with your case. Sir, I have confirmed that you're on probation in Osceola County. An on-view violation has been done based on your new arrest. You'll remain at no bond status in your Osceola probation case.
Your Honor,
In case not, yes?
the defendant would like to be heard on the situation on his revoked bond.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sure.
In 2020 CF 11678AO, you were arrested for a charge of driving with license suspended as a habitual offender. Just keep in mind, you have an attorney now. If you say anything, it can be used against you. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to say?
Oh, my father, 2 days ago.
What?
My dad, 2 days ago, he was put into hospice. He's dying of cancer. He has 4 tumors, one on each side of the brain. So there's no possible way I could get bonds to be by his side.
Okay, I'm so sorry that your family is going through that, but nonetheless, you have a history of doing things over and over and disregarding it. You were on probation already. Your condition was that you commit no new law violations. So I'm denying your request to set bond, stay the bond at no bond, stay the bond on the HTO. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Richard Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davis, you were arrested in case number 2020 CF 1040080. Do you want a lawyer from the public defender's office to help you with your case?
I have a personal lawyer.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to, probable cause has been found in your case. I'm going to set bond in count 1 at $10,000, count 2 at $10,000. You have 2 counts of sexual battery on a person 17 or younger, with your age being over 18. You're to have no contact with the victim. You're to have no contact with anybody under the age of 18, and you're not to possess any weapons. Weapons to be surrendered within 4 hours of your release after you bond, and no return to the scene of the crime. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
George Fetter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Fetter.
Good morning.
You earn $700 a week. I'm asking you because I think you might make too much money to qualify for a public defender. Do you work, sir?
I'm self-employed.
Okay,
and
what's your take-home pay?
It is, well, it varies since I'm self-employed. It's roughly about $1,400 to $1,600 a month total.
And do you support anybody?
No.
Sir, you make too much money to qualify for a public defender. You'll need to hire your own attorney. You are arrested for grand theft motor vehicle. I do find probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. Can you afford a $1,000 bond?
I have somebody working on that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll go, and in the meantime, you're to have no contact with the victim, the owner of the vehicle. Thank you, Mr. Fetter. The next person is Diello Faust. Mr. Faust, you already have a public defender on 2 cases where you're out on bond. Do you want a public defender for your new case? You need to answer out loud.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes.
In case number 2020 CF 11683, is your financial circumstances the same as it was in August?
Yes.
Okay, you'll still need to fill out an application for the public defender. Based on your testimony, I'll appoint one. Sir, you were arrested for grand theft motor vehicle, and I find probable cause for that. I'll modify your bond to $150. You were arrested for grand theft 3rd degree of a firearm. I find probable cause, modify to $150. You were arrested for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, modify bond to $150. You were arrested for possession of ammunition by a convicted felon. I find probable cause, stay the bond at $5,000. I also have probable cause for 5 and 6, resisting officer without violence in possession of cannabis. I'll modify both those bonds to $100 apiece. Sir, you're to have no contact with the victim, no weapons, and no ammunition, and not to use any drugs. In case number 2020 CF 9553AO, I'm revoking your release and holding you at no bond. In case number 2018 CF 885AO, you have a trial upcoming and I'm revoking your bond and holding you at no bond. Thank you, Mr. Faust. The next person is Ray Ledford. Good morning. Are you Mr. Ledford?
Good morning.
Mr. Ledford, you have 3 cases. Do you want a public defender to help you with all of them?
Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender. Sir, I have probable cause for an open container charge. I'll modify that bond to $100. In case number 2020 CF 11684, I have probable cause for possession of MDMA ecstasy. I'll stay that bond at $1,500. Sir, we have confirmed that you are on probation in Brevard County. The officer did an on-view violation, so because of your probationary status, you'll remain at no bond. Thank you, Mr. Ledford. The next person I'm addressing is Nicholas Shaquille Lucas. Are you Mr. Lucas?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you already have a public defender in case 2020 CF 89AO. You were arrested for aggravated battery on a pregnant person, aggravated assault. Because of the date of the offense and the date you bonded, I'll take no action on that case. Sir, I'm appointing a public defender in case number 2020 CF 10503. You were arrested for burglary of a dwelling, grand theft of $100 or more, and criminal mischief. Probable cause has been found. I'll stay the bond on count 1, modify the bond on count 2 to $150, and on count 3 to $100. So you can bond out.
But can you restate it again, the last part? Cause I be.
Your bond is $5,250 total, no contact, no return.
Also, it dropped from 65 to 5,000.
No, $5,250.
5,000. All right, thank you. Though.
Okay.
God bless you.
Gregory Martin.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, in case number 2020 CF 7474AO, state defense, I need you to look that case up and tell me if he's on probation. I don't think he is, but. In the meantime, Mr. Martin, I'll appoint a public defender in case 2020 CF 11689AO. Sir, you were arrested for a charge of petty theft with 2 priors. I find probable cause. I'll stay the bond at $150. State anything for me on that case that I just told you about?
It was 20 mm 5572.
No, 2020 CF 7474.
It shows that the case is still open.
1,500. I'm sorry, that bond is 1,500 on the petty theft with 2 priors, if I wasn't clear. He entered a plea, I just don't know the disposition. I'm gonna put everybody on. Oh, shoot. Are you Paul Mitchell?
Yes, Paul Michael. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want a public defender to help you with your criminal charges?
Yes, ma'am.
You're here for case number 2020 MM 7044. Sir, you were arrested for false commission of a crime. I do find probable cause. I'm going to stay your bond at $500 and your attorney can assist you.
Would I be able to get pretrial release today, ma'am?
I'm going to deny that request based on your long history.
My long history?
And you have an open case in Brevard County. So, denied. Victoria Spencer?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Spencer. You're here in case number 2020 MM 7047. I'll appoint a public defender to help you with your case.
Thank you.
You were arrested for criminal mischief. I find probable cause, and I'm going to set your bond at $250. No
Yes, ma'am.
contact with the victim. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The next case is Billy D. Williams.
Your Honor, he bonded.
All right, thank you. After that is Alexi Wilson. Sir, you do have an open case for battery and a licensed security officer. I also find probable cause in 2020 MM 7042. Sir, you were arrested for trespass on property after warning. I find probable cause. This has occurred at a Salvation Army. If you would like to resolve the Salvation Army trespass, the offer is an adjudication 4 days with credit for 2. It means you'd be released tomorrow. The offer is the same whether you have an attorney or not. Do you want a public defender for your trespass at Salvation Army case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. Defense, do you want to talk to him?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll pass his case. And he does have an open case I'll take no action on, which I'll consider taking no action on. The next person is Stephen Young. Are you Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Young, you were arrested in case number 2020 MM 7036 for a charge of petty theft. In that case, I do find that there's probable cause. I'll go ahead and stay the bond at $250. Sir, you're already out on release in case number 2020 CF 9449AO. I'll appoint a public defender if you don't have one already. Because you were just released on that case, I'm revoking your release now and holding you at no bond status pending a filing decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, what's your name?
Brian Jordan.
Mr. Jordan, I have 3 different cases to address for you. They're all out-of-county warrants.
Can I state I currently have a valid license.
Okay, hold on a second. In Brevard County case 2020 CT 10544, you were arrested for an out-of-county warrant. You have a bond of $15,000 for driving with license suspended with knowledge. In case number 2020 MM 24843, you have a warrant from Brevard County. You failed to appear for a driving with license suspended charge. That bond is $2,000. And then you have a case number 2020 MM 27729. It's for failing to appear for another driving with license suspended charge. And in that case, your bond is $15,000. Sir, your total bond is $32,000.
How is my bond that high for a driver's license?
Because the judge said it because you keep missing your court dates. Thank you.
Well, can I state I have a valid driver's license right now?
Okay, I can't do anything because
Okay,
the
so how long have Brevard County got?
Talk to an attorney, they'll give you legal advice, and I'll let the judge in Brevard County know. Well, one of the Orange County judges will let him know that you do have a valid license.
I'm saying, am I being extradited? I'm being stayed. What's going on? That's what I want to understand. Am I being extradited to Brevard or no?
They have 30 days to pick you up, sir.
Okay.
All right, can you put down per defendant? He says he has a valid license, so Judge Carter can see that. Okay, recall on Mr. Wilson's case. Defense counsel, what are we doing on Wilson?
Mr. Wilson would like to plea, Your Honor.
All right, let me switch spots. Mr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had enough time to speak with your lawyer for the charge of trespass?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to the charge of trespass after warning?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead guilty, no contest, or not guilty,
I
sir?
plead guilty. Yes, ma'am.
And did anybody force you to say guilty?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that's affecting your ability to understand what's going on now?
I am, but it's not affecting my ability now.
Okay, so you understand you're lucid? And you took
Yes.
medication, but it's not,
Yes, I was drinking when I got arrested, and
are you still hungover or feeling any,
no, but I still feel the effects of the drugs that I was taking the night I got arrested.
all right, I'm not comfortable taking his plea.
Okay, I'm just being
So-
honest.
I'll go ahead and stay the bond. I'll modify this bond to $100 and can you afford a $100 bond?
No, ma'am, I have no money.
All right. I'm going to ROR him on the trespass, no action on the other case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Amon Lodge.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. Sir, you're on community control in felony case number 2018 CF 16139 as well as 18 CF 13499. I did find probable cause in case number 2020 MM 7041 for petty theft with a prior conviction and resisting officer without violence. On count two, I'll reduce the bond to $100. Your new bond is $600. But because you are already on release, I have to hold you at no bond. I'm going to appoint a public defender, Mr. Lodge, to help you with all of your cases.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you, sir.
All right.
Yes, count two.
Hey, ma'am, if I was in the hospital at the time of my the warrant was released, that's a worthy excuse if I have dispatch paperwork and everything to show that I was at the
Sir,
hospital.
it's because you were arrested for a new offense that occurred while you were on.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Thank you, Mr. Lodge. Good luck to you. State and PDs, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. I
Thank you, everybody.
I just have a question about the reset case from yesterday.
About which case?
The reset from yesterday.
Yes. Sir, tell me your name.
Patrick Martinez, Your Honor.
Appearance for the record is private counsel.
Lazaro Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Blanco. Sir, you're here for a felony charge of battery as well as altering, destroying, or concealing pursuant to Florida Statute 918.13. There was a warrant signed, so there is probable cause. Defense counsel, do you want to be heard on count one bond?
Judge, I believe that's a misdemeanor count. So whatever the bond amount will be set, usually it's 500 for a misdemeanor battery.
State, do you have a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor. On August 11, 2020, the defendant and the victim, her husband and wife for 5 years. The victim stated that she and the defendant had been separated for a few months because she found out he had got married in Polk County. The victim stated she allowed the defendant to stay with her because he and his current wife were having problems. Victim stated on this date she and the defendant had an argument and that the defendant grabbed her by the hands and tried to take the keys from her. Victim stated the defendant caused cuts to her hand when he did this. Victim stated she told the defendant she was going to call 911 and he grabbed her phone from her hands so she couldn't call the police.
Thank you, State. So I do have a factual basis for everything. Corrections, what's his history, if any, and any failures to appear?
Judge, the defendant doesn't have any local arrest, has an active warrant out of New Mexico for a failure to appear on a driving license suspended, and a DUI out of Texas, and an aggravated assault on a minor. Those charges were dropped.
All right, counsel, I do have concerns about his ongoing relocations and the facts of this case. I will set a bond in the amount of $1,000 on count one, the misdemeanor offense. So it's a total of $2,000 on both of these charges. Is that a bond he can afford, counsel?
Yes, Judge, I believe you could do that.
All right, Mr. Martinez, I'm going to go over your conditions. You're not to return to the scene of the crime. You're not to go to where the victim lives, works, or is known to frequent. No contact with the victim. and you need to surrender any weapons to law enforcement. You're not allowed to have any weapons. Anything else, Mr. Blanco?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you, too.
That concludes Mr. Martinez's case. After that, I'm addressing Anthony Ali. After Mr. Ali is Luis Arguelles Medina.
Thank you. Your Honor, can we have the readings for this case?
Yes. Sir, tell me your name.
My name is Anthony Ali.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Anthony Joseph Ali.
Mr. Ali, do you want a public defender to help you with this case?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, I'll go up ahead and appoint a public defender. I do find that there's probable cause for these matters. The attorney has asked that I waive reading. Let me go ahead and... What kind of bond are you seeking, defense?
Your Honor, we would be seeking a bond in a reasonable amount, affordable to the client. How much?
Corrections, does he have any priors of this nature?
Yes, Judge. The defendant has in 1997 the original arrest to the arrest to date. Also has a couple of failure to appears in 2019. Plus, he has an active warrant out of Michigan for a violation of probation.
All right, based on the facts of the case and the information that has been presented on Mr. Ali's matter, and his lack of and his relocation and lack of ties, I'm going to set bond at $2,500. Sir, you do have reporting requirements. If you do post bond, I'll give you 1 business day to report and provide your information pursuant to statute. Counsel, will you go over that with him, or do you want me to put on record what he needs to do to report?
I'll go over it with him.
All right. And that's based on the, that's based on the reading. Thank you. Or the waiver of reading. Next person is Luis Arguelles Medina. After that is Amanda Burgess.
And Judge Arguelles Medina requires a Spanish interpreter.
Okay, perfect timing. Mr. Interpreter, have you been sworn in?
I have not, Your Honor. Good morning. For the record, Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor, and I'm sorry I didn't catch this defendant's name. Could I have it for the benefit of the interpreter, please?
Sure, it's Luis Arguelles Medina. Do you need a file number?
If you have one.
4921-59049.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, and corrections, I have my Spanish interpreter live. Just, if you could have the Spanish interpreter cases ready to go, you'll tell me and I'll take them.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Luis Arguelles Medina, do you want a lawyer from the Public Defender's Office?
Señor Luis Medina Arguelles, ¿usted desea un defensor público? Yes.
I'll appoint a public defender. Corrections, have you been in contact with or not the victim?
Le voy a dar el defensor público. Departamento de Correcciones han estado en contacto con la víctima.
Judge, the victim is requesting no contact.
All right, thank you.
La víctima está pidiendo que no tenga contacto.
Sir, I'm also addressing another case. You failed to appear for an offense related to DUI stemming in 2019. That case number is 19CT1142AO. Sir, I do want to point out that the bond on that case was $2,000.
Señor, también estoy enfocando un caso de falta de comparecencia en un caso de conducir bajo los efectos 19CT 1142AO. Le quiero indicar que la fianza en ese caso eran unos $2,000.
Based on the finding of probable cause in the new offense, I'm going to change that to no bond.
Basado en el motivo fundado determinado en el nuevo caso, eso lo voy a cambiar a 0 fianza.
In the case for battery, I do find that there's probable cause for that and the criminal mischief. On the battery, I'm setting your bond at $1,000. On the criminal mischief, I'm setting your bond at $100 for a total of $1,100.
Determino que el motivo fundado en el cargo de agresión y le voy a determinar una fianza de $1,000 y en el cargo de travesura penal una fianza de $100, una fianza total $1,100.
You're to have no contact with the victim and no return to where she lives or works.
No se le permite contacto con la víctima, no puede regresar al lugar donde ella viva o donde ella trabaje
and you're not to possess any weapons.
y no se le permitirá portar armas.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Is there a one-time assist? I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear if you mentioned that.
I did not, so I'll go ahead and do that. He does have I'll allow, hold on a second. I'll do a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer to collect your belongings.
Se le permitirá regresar una sola vez acompañado de un oficial del orden público para recopilar sus pertenencias.
Okay, the next case where I believe we need a Spanish interpreter is John Doe, AKA Roby House Martinez.
My apologies, what was the first name again? I'm sorry.
Robbie, R-O-B-I.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hi. Good. Okay, are you Robbie Martinez?
¿Usted es Roby Martínez? Yes.
Mr. Martinez, I'm appointing a public defender to help you with both of your cases.
Señor Martínez, le voy a asignar un abogado defensor público para ayudarle con ambos casos.
You were arrested for driving under the influence, and I find probable cause.
Usted fue arrestado por el cargo de conducir bajo efectos y le determino qué motivo fundado.
I'm setting a bond of $500.
Le voy a programar la fianza en $500.
And then in your case for no valid driver's license, I find probable cause.
Y determino qué motivo fundado para el cargo de no portar licencia válida de conducir.
Your bond will be $100 in that case.
Y en ese caso su fianza será $100.
I do want to point out that there is also an immigration hold.
También quiero indicarle que usted tiene un retén de inmigración.
That will end your case. Thank you, sir.
Y terminamos con su caso. Muchas gracias.
Who's the next person, corrections, put him up at the podium, who needs a Spanish interpreter?
Judge, could the interpreter inquire
Yes.
if there's somebody else that needs it?
Su atención, por favor. Si hay alguna otra persona que necesite el intérprete en español, por favor, alce la mano en este momento.
¿Alguien más necesita el intérprete en español? We didn't see no hands, Judge.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We did not see any hands.
What?
No one raised their hand, Your Honor.
Okay. I need a couple minutes to go through this, and then I'll get to my Orange County, Mr. Interpreter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, next person is Amanda Burgess. Good morning, are you Miss Burgess?
I am.
Ms. Burgess, you're here for a charge of possession of controlled substance without a prescription, as well as possession of drug paraphernalia. Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else on setting bond?
I'm sorry?
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. It doesn't say, it's basically alluding to residue, and it's not talking about what was found in the needles, rather just testing one of the bags. Not talking about anything being found on there, any substance left. I find no probable cause for count 1, the methamphetamines. I do find probable cause for count 2, for the drug paraphernalia. In the meantime, I'll modify count 2 bond to $100 and give state 24 hours to perfect probable cause on the amount in the baggie.
Your Honor?
Yes?
You said for count 1. I was reading the affidavit, and it says law enforcement tested one of the clear white baggies. It was presumptive positive for methamphetamine and weighed 1.7 grams.
So in other cases, yes, the baggie can be tested, but in other cases that you're going to see in this stack, there was something left over. There's nothing. They just tested the bag, which establishes paraphernalia, the baggie being and everything else being used. I don't think I have enough for it. Do you want to waive on that and make a charging decision and just ROR her on count 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. State stipulating to no PC on count 1. I'll ROR her and $100 bond on the paraphernalia.
What does that mean?
Okay, the next case is David Federoff. State the distinction on this case is there was crystal still in the bag, so that's why I'm going to find PC on this one. What's your name, sir?
David Featheroff Jr.
Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you were arrested for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'm going to put you on pretrial release, and you're not to possess, use, or consume any illegal drugs or have any drug paraphernalia.
Yes, ma'am.
That concludes your case. The next case is Dwayne Head.
Your Honor, we have a PC argument for this case.
All right, let me see if he wants a PD. Sir, what's your name?
Dwayne Head.
What?
Dwayne Head.
Mr. Head, you're here in case for a charge of assault, domestic related, as well as contempt of court, violation of injunction. Sir, do you want a public defender to help you with this case?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint a public defender. Victim Shirley, is she present? I know she was contacted. No response. Defense, what's your PC challenge?
We would be challenging count one, Your Honor, that there was not an act that created a well-founded fear in the alleged victim. There was no evidence of imminent violence. The alleged victim also didn't want to prosecute the case, and she didn't express any fear, or that she was in any fear.
State your response.
One moment, Your Honor. I believe defense may be correct. I'm reading the affidavit and it only says that the victim advised.
I agree with you. Do you want me to get 24 hours to perfect probable cause on this domestic case, or how do you want me to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask for 24.
All right, on count two, I'm going to set bond at $500. Abide by all conditions of the injunction. No contact with the victim, possess no weapons, and no return home. On count one, state will have 24 hours to establish probable cause on this, and in the meantime, he'll remain at no bond.
Judge, Officer Oquendo for pretrial release. The defendant is out on probation for unsettled county case 20MM1154, violation of a no contact order. Are you going to take action on that?
What was the circuit court case number or misdemeanor case number?
20MM1154.
Yes, on that case, I'll go ahead and revoke his release, set him at no bond pending victim.
Your Honor, he also has a second case. It is 20 MM 907.
What? You mean a case where he's already out on bond?
Yeah, he has another open case in Osceola.
What's that case number?
It is 20 MM 907.
Corrections, can you run that? 2020 MM 907?
Judge, he was sentenced on that case. He does have another open case, which is a consecutive term to his current probation, 20MM1601, domestic battery.
So he's on probation too?
Yes, that's a consecutive term after he gets done with the 20MM1154.
I'll let probation handle that and take no further action.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, the next person is Paul Hunt.
What happened?
Mr. Hunt, you're here. Are you Paul Hunt?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're here for 2 counts of petty theft as a third or subsequent offender. Probable cause has been already found. Defense, excuse me, corrections, does he have any failures to appear?
Judge, we found one failure to appear back in 2015. However, he does meet criteria for direct PTR.
I understand, I saw that. And when was his last conviction?
His last conviction came in 2015 for a failure to appear for the driving license revoked subsequent offense.
Okay, I'll put you on pretrial release.
Thank you, John.
The next person is Quantavious Remmer. After Mr. Remmer is Rogelio Rivera Steer. Sir, what is your name?
Qantas Rimmer.
And correction, do you want a public defender?
Yes, Your Honor.
Corrections, have you been in contact with the victim?
Yes, Judge, the victim is requesting contact.
All right, defense counsel, I find probable cause. What's does he have any prior domestics corrections?
Yes, Judge, out of the state of Michigan, 2006, domestic assault. From 2007 to 2010, has a couple more assault domestics and assault on a pregnant woman, which he was found guilty.
All right, I'm going to deny the request that the victim has for no contact. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500. You're to have no contact with the victim, Gwyneth. You're not to return to the scene of the crime, no return to her home, abide by a separate residence, and possess no weapons. I'll give you a one-time return as long as you're accompanied by a police officer, and no contact means even for the purposes of the child. Thank you.
Your Honor, is this child shared with you too?
No.
Do you have children together?
No, we have no children.
Okay, disregard and strike that. Just no contact, strike. Yes, no weapons, no firearms. Anything that he has needs to be surrendered upon release to law enforcement. The next person is Rogelio Rivera Steer, followed by Paula Thacker. Corrections, have you heard from his brother, Thomas?
No, Judge.
What?
No, we have not, Judge.
All right, thank you. Tell me your name, please.
Rogelio Rivera.
Sir, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll go ahead and appoint a public defender. I find probable cause for battery domestic, failure to leave property, a trespass offense, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting officer with violence, as well as disorderly conduct. On count 1, I'm setting your bond at $150. On count 2, I'll modify to $100. I'll stay the bond on the Bat Leo at $2,500, resisting without violence $150, and disorderly conduct $100. Sir, you need to abide by all trespass orders. You have to have no contact with your brother. You need to maintain a separate residence. You can't go to where he's living. Do you live with your brother?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, don't go to where he's living, and you're not supposed to possess any weapons. All weapons to be surrendered upon being released from jail. Thank you. The next person is Paula Thacker. After Paula Thacker, it's going to be Christina Yates. Are you Paula Thacker?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. There is a reward because you failed to appear for your petty theft charge. I'll stay the bond at $2,000. You need to update your address with your PD and in the court file. I also find probable cause for the charges of possession of synthetic cannabinoids as well as paraphernalia. I'll stay the bond on count 1, modify count 2 bond to $100. That'll conclude your case, Ms. Thacker. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Christina Yates, after Ms. Yates, is going to be Gerald Eugene Irving.
Yates had to step out to the bathroom if we could come back to her.
Okay, I'll pass on Yates. Gerald Eugene Irving. Sir, tell me your name.
Gerald Eugene Irving.
Mr. Yates, Mr. Irving, do you want a public defender to help you with your case?
Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday, I found probable cause for the charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I'll stay the bond at $3,500, no contact with the victim of this case, and you're not to possess any weapons. That'll
No, ma'am, that went yesterday. That was September 26th. That went yesterday. September 26th, dated 29.
All right, thank you for that information.
Okay.
And your first appearance is over.
Your Honor, we would just ask for
don't have
a
a deadly
reduction in
weapon.
bond.
Got a boom.
What's the basis?
Okay, that's okay. I believe there's mental health concerns. And I don't know if he can afford the amount that was given.
You don't know, counsel? Go ahead and give me something that I can rely on. Thank you, counsel.
I believe, I apologize, the inmates were coming in as we started, so I hadn't had a chance to speak to everybody yet. But we would be asking for a $1,000 bond.
Corrections, what's his history? Any mental health history and any crimes of violence or failures to appear?
Judge, we didn't find anything as far as mental health. The defendant has history going back to 1979, charges of DUI, assault on law enforcement, aggravated battery on law enforcement, most recently, 2008 aggravated battery on elected official, and 2017 charges of trespassing.
I'll go ahead and
That's a
deny
lie
this
there.
request. Thank you. Thank
Your
you.
Honor?
Defense.
It's a lie, all that.
Thank you.
I remember.
All right, I'm going to go start and stand by on Miss Yates's case. Let me go ahead and.
I like suitcase. I like suitcase.
Yeah, Your Honor, can we address Mr. Martinez, Patrick? I know he has a private attorney. However, he's requesting that he also gets a one-time assist to be able to get his belongings from the home.
I'll go back and state any objection.
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to go back on record on Patrick Martinez, Mr. Blanco's case. Now the condition that with law enforcement, he can have a one-time return to collect his belongings. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that, defense. Okay, so what's the ETA and Christina Yates? I have an Orange County docket and an
she's here.
interpreter.
She's here, Judge.
Okay,
She just
thank
walked
you.
back in.
Good morning, ma'am. Could you tell me your name, please?
Good morning, it's Christina Yates.
Hi, Ms. Yates. You were arrested for a crime of criminal mischief of $1,000 or more. I do find that there's probable cause. You're to have no contact with the victim in this case, and I will stay the bond at $1,000, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm also, because of the proximity, I'm going to order that you have no weapons. If you own any weapons, they do need to be surrendered to police department within 4 hours of your release from jail. Thank you. All right, let's
And
go.
the public defender's allowed to represent her as well, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, do you want a public defender, Ms. Yates?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender. Counsel, thank you for your work this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and remove this. Seal screen will go to orange.